tribe. Welcome to Ghost Wolf Live. Awesome stuff tonight. We're doing paranormal news. And the reason I'm doing this tonight is because I used to do paranormal news quite a bit, and it's been a long time, and I figured, why the hell not? So if you want to follow along with me, the site I am looking at is called unexplainedmysteries.com. It's actually one of my go-tos for paranormal news. I tend to stay away from some of the, I guess you could say, bigger ones, like Houston Press or whatever it is. Anyhow, our first story, I'm going to read you the headline. Footage of a motorcycle moving and falling over on its own has been doing the rounds on social media. The intriguing clip, which was reportedly filmed back in December, before being picked up and shared online, shows a quiet street in India with two motorcycles parked at the side of the road. At around the 15-second mark of the video, one of the motorcycles suddenly starts to roll forward without explanation before collapsing in the middle of the road a few moments later. Now, there's been a lot of, well, you know how it is with like the closed-minded set. They're trying to explain it away. Well, maybe there was an earthquake, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the problem with that, okay? If it was an earthquake, why didn't both motorcycles do it? Why did just one of them roll away on its own? And not to mention the fact, okay, I don't know if you know anything about motorcycles, but I'm going to clue you in on a little something. When they're parked, that means that they're either on a center stand, right? What a center stand is it's this thing underneath the frame of the motorcycle that flips down, so that when you pull back on the motorcycle, it is sitting up on this two-legged stand, so it's not going anywhere, right? Or a kickstand. And the thing about a kickstand, which is what it was on, as you can clearly see in the video, both motorcycles are in kickstands. You put the kickstand up and the bike leans, usually to your left side. And the kickstand itself holds it up. Now, if it were an earthquake, okay, it would actually disable the kickstand as it would roll forward, okay? But then, once again, the question is, why didn't that happen with both motorcycles? Now, I'm not saying that it's paranormal in nature. It may be, it may not be. I wasn't there. But, I mean, saying it was an earthquake, I mean, that's akin to like going, oh, it was swamp gas. I'm like, how long do you think you can use the same excuses before we catch on to your bullshit? Right? So, anyways, next story. I realized that one was a little short, but if you want to check out the video, it's on unexplainedmysteries.com. Under the ghost and hauntings section. What the hell are you doing there? Come on. I hate when it does this. Come on. Hold on, folks. Alright, there we go. This one I have to read you. This one is one that I can actually relate to the person that this story is about, because I live in Ohio. Alright? And I don't know where you all live, but if you live in Ohio, you know this is going to be true. I live on a street that is not deemed a major thoroughfare, and therefore is not considered to be owned by the city of Akron, and therefore they do not fucking plow it when it snows, right? So, I mean, this is a little extreme, but I kind of get it. And here's the headline. A man in the Ukraine told police he had killed someone so that they'd have to plow his road to reach him. Totally fed up with the fact that his home had been cut off by an enormous snowdrift and seemingly unable or unwilling to clear the obstruction himself, the unnamed man, who hails from the village of Grybova Rudnya in the Ukraine's Chernihiv region, I hope I'm saying that right, decided to get someone else to do it for him. Rather than paying for the privilege, however, he came up with the rather strange idea of calling the police and confessing to committing a fake murder so that when the emergency services arrived to arrest him, they would be forced to clear the snow from his drive to get to him. Pleased with this idea, he went ahead and called the police, telling them that he had stabbed his elderly stepfather with a knife and that he was willing to turn himself in. He did, however, tell them that they would need to bring a snowplow.
I'm sorry, that's just too funny.
If they wanted to reach him. Wow. I mean, that's a little extreme. Immediately after arriving, they discovered that the relative was indeed at the house, but in one piece and unharmed, said a police spokesperson. No one had attacked him. The man was subsequently charged with reporting a false crime and wasting police time. It remains unclear whether or not his road was cleared of snow to his satisfaction. Now, I would never go that far, but I kind of sympathize because, like I said, I live in Ohio and they don't fucking plow my road. Alright, this one also comes from India, like the first one. It was posted on the 4th of January this year, and let's get into it. Ghost caught on camera and video from India. This is the headline. Video footage of someone's birthday party celebration features an anomalous extra in the background. The video, which has been doing the rounds online this week, shows a group of people reportedly engaged in a makeshift birthday bash in front of what looks like a gas station. Around 3 seconds into the footage, a mysterious shape vaguely in the form of a figure can be seen moving at speed across the frame in the background before disappearing behind the pumps. And I know you can't see it because, duh, this is radio, but I'm actually going to attempt, if it'll frickin' let me, I'm actually going to attempt to play this video. Now, I'm imagining this is not going to be in English, so, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah? Holy crap. Let me go back, because, like I said, you can look this up, unexplainedmysteries.com. Oh yeah, it's like a solid white figure at about 7-8 seconds in. One's right across this, like from right to left, runs kind of diagonally across the screen, like it's walking through this gas station going into the street. Once again, you can't see the figure clearly, so I honestly would not be able to say that, this is, paranormal. But, I can't definitively say that it's not either. And this is, take in mind, this is coming from somebody who's spent years and years and years developing evidence, both video and audio, and learning every single way that I can to try and debunk things, okay? And I'm at a point now where I can look at most videos and tell you definitively, more times than not, whether or not it's been faked, and I cannot see how they would fake this video. But I also can't say that it's definitively paranormal either, so there you go. This one I found interesting. This was posted on the 17th of November of 2020. It says, possessed woman at center of Irish court case. A man has been cleared of assaulting his ex-partner who had been allegedly possessed by demonic forces. An unusual court case in Ireland ended recently with Shane Gibbons of East Clare being cleared of assaulting his ex-partner, who had reportedly sustained scratches and bruises from an ongoing series of demonic possessions. According to Gibbons, the woman, whose name has not been disclosed, had regularly entered a trance-like state before reciting sentences in Latin. Okay. During such episodes, the lights would flicker on and off, items would be thrown across the room, and she would suffer wounds that spontaneously appeared on her body without apparent explanation. I would witness poltergeist activity and this whole plethora of stuff, he said. The bruising she was getting was horrible. When I wasn't there, it would escalate. Some of the marks she got were horrific-looking marks, scratch marks, and all of that. The problem got so bad that Gibbons recruited the assistance of parish priest Father Donald O'Meary, who later confirmed in court that what he was saying was true, although stopped short of confirming that the woman had definitely been possessed. Of course, because, Catholics nowadays. Healer Jane Donnelly also recalled meeting the couple. She was just completely catatonic, like out of it. I've seen demons and different things, but at that level of possession, I've only seen in the movies, to be honest. I was able to help her, and I was able to remove it. She went home and was good for a good number of months before it came at her again. The case was ultimately dismissed from court, with Judge Patrick Durkin declaring that the version of events concerning the occult exorcisms of devil possession should have been explored more by the state. Holy shit, that is awesome. Why doesn't that happen here? Seriously. He's basically saying, look, this is legit shit. You're in Ireland. You know that this is legit shit because it's Ireland, one of the most haunted countries in the fucking world. So, get with it, state. Get off your ass. Take this shit seriously. That is fucking badass. Sorry. But it is. That is awesome. Oh, don't start this shit again. Fucking hate it when you do that. Alright, there we go. This one, I kind of almost don't want to read because, okay, let me set this up. So, for those that don't know me, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, in the sense that, I know in my heart of hearts that there's a big difference between the story that they often want you to believe and the truth. Okay? I know that governments around the world, particularly our own, like to cover shit up. Primarily when it deals with the paranormal, because they're under this false assumption that we are not equipped to handle it. Even though more and more of us every day have dealt with the paranormal. I mean, it even says it in the show, My Ghost Story, 75% of all Americans have had a paranormal or normal experience, basically. I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but, there you go. And so, when I see shit like this, I kind of almost don't want to read it because it has to deal with, those, planted or false fears, I think. Anyways, let me just read it to you. Mob destroys Monolith over Illuminati fears. A metallic monolith that appeared in the Democratic Republic of Congo has been torched by a mob. The mysterious 12-foot metal structure, which appeared on a roundabout in the capital city of Kinshasa at the weekend, immediately drew both concern and intrigue, with some locals turning out to take selfies and other expressing concerns over who or what had put it there. So great was the paranoia surrounding the structure that by Wednesday a large mob had descended on the area armed with torches. They lit the monument on fire and started tearing it apart. Some believe that the structure, which turned out to be comprised of an interior frame covered with thin metal sheets, have been placed there by a secret cabal organization. Some were concerned that satanic worshippers or extraterrestrial visitors were responsible. We woke up and saw this metallic triangle, local visitor Sergei Ifulu told Reuters. We were surprised because it is a triangle that we often see in the documentaries about Freemasons or Illuminati. Mayor Babylon Gabini has since sent some of the material away to be scientifically analyzed. It is currently unclear if the mysterious structure is connected to the 2020 phenomenon that saw the dozens of mysterious monoliths appear at random places around the world. At the time, Art Collective, the most famous artist, claimed responsibility for 2 monoliths in the United States and began selling replicas on its website for $45,000 apiece. Now, here's what I'm saying, right? I'm a big believer that, the Illuminati does exist, alright? I don't know who the members are. I'm not going to theorize on that. I haven't seen enough evidence one way or the other. But I do believe they exist. I do believe that they are an offshoot of the Freemasons, much like the Knights Templar are. And I do believe that they're responsible for a lot of the bad shit that, is going on in the world. But I'm realistic about it, if that makes sense. I'm not a crackpot about it. I don't think that they're responsible for every evil that's ever committed, in the world. But I do believe they are responsible for a lot of shit, Oh, shit. Okay. Um, I just saw, if you ever go on this site, by the way, unexplainedmysteries.com, they're really good because they have like everything separated by category. Like they have UFO phenomenon and ghost and haunting stories, and they separate it like that. And then like off in the margin, off to the right, there's this little section called stories and experiences, which are things that were donated by readers. Okay, and I just was scrolling down to get to my next story, and now I'm sidetracked because I just saw this thing that is very, very similar to something that happened to me. So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to share my story. The headline simply says, Grim Reaper-like visitation. Hoping this is the right place to post this, looking for any insight or advice to help me make sense of my experience. So I've always had unusual or unexplainable occurrences happen throughout my life. I apparently told my parents as a young child that they were people sitting on my bed all the time. I have a very strong ability to read negative vibes from a person almost automatically. I sense things before they happen almost weekly. I have events while trying to sleep occur such as my bad feelings shook my pillow being ripped out from under my head, awake to the feeling of someone laying beside me or someone sitting on the edge of my bed. But these things have never instilled any type of fear in me. Never. I've always remained feeling safe, annoyed, maybe, but safe. Anyways, about a month ago, I was asleep and suddenly woke to see a dark cloaked hooded figure standing at the foot of my bed. His face and hands were very prominent and skeletal. He said nothing, took a step backwards into my curtains, and almost immediately dissipated. I was terrified. I jumped out of bed, turned on the lights and TV, and was shaking. I'd never experienced an encounter that made me feel fearful until now. I did all the Googling I could and tried to understand it. Kind of forgot about it until last night. I was asleep, I think. But I remember clear as day hearing a male voice say, "Open your eyes," repeated 3 times. I then opened my eyes, and the Grim Reaper-looking figure was right there, probably an arm's length away this time. He again backed up and started to disappear, but it took much longer this time than the last for him to go away. I'm not sure why, but I automatically look at the clock, which read 4:22 a.m. I was wide awake, left my room, and have been awake since. Again, I feel fear from this figure, something I've never experienced from an encounter. Is this normal to have a visitation twice in a month from the type of being? I'm really hoping someone can offer some insight. I feel an irritable, almost frantic emotion today, very uneasy, and I can't explain it. Well, I don't know if this person is listening, but I'm going to tell you my story, and then I'm going to tell you, hopefully illuminate some things for you, and make you less fearful. Okay, so this is my story. There have been periods of my life, okay, where I haven't had all the things that I have now. Alright? There's been times in my life where I was homeless. There was times in my life where I had to rely on the kindness of friends as well as strangers just to get through and survive. Okay? I'm not necessarily proud of it, but I'm not ashamed of it either. It's just a different part of my life. And this has to deal with one of those parts. I was tongue-tied. I was basically crashing on a friend's couch in San Diego. Actually in a little town in San Diego called Santee, California. And I was sleeping on the couch in the living room, and all the lights were out in the house, which that made, okay, to explain, I've always had kind of like really bad insomnia, but it's always worse when the lights are out. I don't know why. When the lights are out and there's no noise, I can't shut my mind down. There's too much emptiness, I guess. So, what happened is this one night, we had, kind of a party, and, it wasn't like a rager, so it didn't last all night, but it lasted till like probably like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So, it was one of those nights, and I fell asleep on the couch. And so this story takes place probably like 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe 4. It was kind of dark out, but it was a full moon night, so there was like enough like light coming through this sliding glass door that led to the backyard that you could kind of see, Anyways, I'm laying on my back, and I didn't hear anything. It's not like anything called to me. I just distinctly remember suddenly having this very strong feeling come over me that I was not alone. And I kind of, and initially what I thought is that somebody had broke into the house. And that there was like a burglar or something roaming around in the living room. Because I felt this presence like right there in the same room. Like maybe a foot or 2 away from me is what it felt like. And so I kind of did that thing where like you kind of crack your eye open a little bit, but you're not trying to let them know that you're awake. Like when you stay up late at night when you were a kid reading or reading comic books or whatever it was that you're doing, and then you'd hear mom coming to the door, and so you kind of pretend to be asleep, that kind of thing. But I didn't see a person standing there in the living room. And so I kind of like rolled over onto my back, and I opened my eyes, and this figure, this Grim Reaper-like figure was floating right above me. I mean, just mere inches from my face. The differences between the story I read you and my own story is I wasn't afraid of it. I just kind of, well, okay, now what? Really kind of my reaction, but then I started looking into it. And I could never find an answer for like the longest time. I couldn't find an answer. And so I did this investigation at this place in Pennsylvania, and came across the spirit of this 8-year-old boy who was making himself appear like the Grim Reaper as kind of a defense mechanism. So I think if the contributor of that story it happens to be listening, I think that's what happened with you. I think you saw what a spirit was presenting itself as in a sense of defending itself. And I think the fear that you felt is based upon the imagery of the Grim Reaper, which of course is scary. At least to most people. So I get it. Anyways, continuing on, I think I have time for one more. So, I am not just a believer of ghosts, and people that have listened to my show before know this. I'm into other stuff too, like UFOs and cryptozoology. I'm into that stuff. And I've even had some of my own experiences with it. But nothing akin to experiencing a real life haunting. Those are, for me anyways, a lot more common. And so that's what I have a tendency to focus on. But that's not all I'm interested in, just for the record. So our next story has to do with UFOs. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I took part in a panel of public opinion, I guess you could say. Concerning the Phoenix Lights, if you are at all familiar with that. It was kind of a semi-triangular shaped section of lights. I think there was 5 or 6 lights total, if I remember right. But they were in a perfect formation. And of course, the typical closed-minded set tried to say things like, oh, well, it's weather balloons. Yeah, except there's one problem with that. For a weather balloon, how come it is going forward, moving in perfect formation, and none of the lights drifted at all? Okay, because even if you were able to get weather balloons, quote unquote, to fly in perfect formation, the wind, especially that high up, would make them sway a little bit, and that would be recognizable even on film. Alright, that was my argument. And I won a lot of people over with that. I wasn't saying, hey, this is definitely UFO. All I was saying is this is unexplained, and it is not fucking weather balloons. Basically. So, this same kind of deal happened back, I think it was in February. You fucker. I swear to God, I hate it when it does this. Hold on, one sec. There we go. Okay, this time it happened in North Carolina. String of lights photographed near Charlotte. Peculiar aerial phenomena has caught the attention of local social media group in North Carolina. The lights, which appeared recently over the state's Indian Trail community to the southeast of Charlotte, were photographed by Alyssa Homewood, who posted the image up on Facebook. "Anyone know what these lights were tonight?" she asked. "No sound at all. They flickered like lanterns, but followed the same exact path until they disappeared, which was odd. My initial thought when I saw the lights was it was the helicopters in the distance, but as the lights got closer, there was no sound. Then they went straight up into the sky and disappeared. I couldn't see anything around the light to suggest they were or were not lanterns, but the light flickered like you'd imagine a lantern would look. Compounding the mystery was the fact that a cluster of 3 additional lights surrounded by a blue glow had shown up in the photograph despite not being seen at the time." Okay. Well, here's my thoughts on this. I'm actually looking at this picture right now. And I'm actually zoomed in on it. And I got to tell you that whatever it was that she saw, to me, looks like it is on one craft. Meaning it's not 3 separate things, it's 3 lights on one craft. Okay, that's just my guess, alright? I'm not saying that's definitively what it is, that's just what it appears like to me. And if you look at this picture and zoom in on it, it kind of has a shape to it, almost like a cockpit, I guess you could say. But seeing as it's a picture and not video, and I wasn't there, I can't really say I have a strong opinion about it. That could just be, lens flare or whatever. But, yeah, I don't really have an explanation for that because, looking at this picture and knowing what I know about how things move in the sky, having flown before myself, it doesn't really match anything I've ever seen, but that's not to say it's alien. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for my show tonight. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Tune in next time, my pack, my tribe. Until then, peace out.